Oh, give me Jesus. You can have all this world. Give me Jesus. You can have all this world. Give me Jesus. When I am alone, oh, when I am alone, when I am alone, give me Jesus, give me Jesus.
And good, bright, and beautiful morning. Where are we now? Well, we are fully with Isaac. We've got Isaac here. We've got only Isaac and Rebecca and their children. And we're not entirely sure whether this chapter comes before or after, but it's definitely a really important story. So stick around. We'll be right back and find out what Isaac tries to make the same mistake that Abraham makes. Didn't he learn from his dad? Good gracious, what is it with these men? We'll be right back, and I'll show you what I'm talking about right after this.
You can have all this world. Give me Jesus.
And welcome back. You can see I was putting something down on the ground there. Welcome back to this channel. If you do find any value in the content today, do me a favor. Click like, subscribe, turn on that notification bell so you don't miss any of my content. Good news is it's a little bit cooler today, so we can shut the door once again in the studio. Whew, that heat wave was brutal. But today we are in Genesis 26. And if you do find value, not just in my content, but in other Bible content that you come across on the internet, do me a favor and share it. Because it's not just about sharing with me or for me or the benefit to me. It's not about that at all. It is primarily about the fact that we should be sharing God's word with other people. And it's really important that we share God's word with other people. So definitely be prepared to share God's word with others, whether it's my channel or other channels. Share, because God says that his word does not return void unto us. So it's really important that we let other people know about it. That's what you can do. All right. But today we are in Genesis 26. So let's get into the passage and let's see what God's word had. This is a longer one because we are doing the entire chapter in one day, which is 35 verses. So let's get into it. Be prepared. Here we go. And there was a famine in the land beside the first famine that was in the days of Abraham and Isaac, went unto Abimelech, king of the Philistines, under Gerar. And the Lord appeared unto him and said, Go not down into Egypt, dwell in the land which I shall tell thee of. Sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee, and will bless thee. For unto thee and unto thy seed I will give all these countries, and I will perform the oath which I swear unto Abraham thy father. And I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, and will give unto thy seed all these countries. And in thy seed all the nations of the earth be blessed, because that Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, and my statutes, and my laws. And Isaac dwelt in Gerar. And the men of the place asked him of his wife, and he said, She is my sister. For he feared to say, She is my wife, lest, said he, the men of the place should kill me for Rebekah, because she was fair to look upon. And it came to pass, when he had been there a long time, that Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looked out at the window and saw, and behold, Isaac was sporting with Rebekah his wife. And Abimelech called Isaac and said, Behold, of a surety she is thy wife. And how saidst thou, She is my sister? And Isaac said unto him, Because I said, Lest I die for her. And Abimelech said, what is this thou hast done unto us? One of the people might lightly have lain with thy wife, and thou shouldst have brought guiltiness upon us. And Abimelech charged all his people, saying, he that toucheth this man or his wife shall surely be put to death. Then Isaac sowed in that land, and received in the same year 100-fold. And the Lord blessed him. And the man waxed great, and went forward, and grew until he became very great. For he had possession of flocks, and possession of herds, and great stores of servants, and the Philistines envied him. For all the wells which his father's servants had digged in the days of Abraham his father, the Philistines had stopped them, and filled them with earth. And Abimelech said unto Isaac, go from us, for thou art much mightier than we. And Isaac departed thence, and pitched his tent in the valley of Gerar, and dwelt there. And Isaac's servants digged in the valley, and found there a well of springing water. Digged again the wells of water, which they had digged in the days of Abraham his father. For the Philistines had stopped them after the death of Abraham. And he called their names after the names by which his father had called them. And Isaac's servants digged in the valley, and found there a well of springing water. And the herdsmen of Gerar did strive with Isaac's herdsmen, saying, the water is ours. And he called the name of the well Essex, because they strove with him. And they digged another well, and strove for that also, and he called the name of it Sitnah. And he removed from thence, and digged another well, and for that they strove not, and he called the name of it Rehoboth. And he said, for now the Lord hath made room for us, and we shall be fruitful in the land. And he went up from thence to Beersheba, and the Lord appeared unto him the same night, and said, I am the God of Abraham thy father. Fear not, for I am with thee, and will bless thee, and multiply thy seed for my servant Abraham's sake. And he builded an altar there, and called upon the name of the Lord, and pitched his tent there, and there Isaac's servants digged a well. And Abimelech went to him from Gerar, and Ahuzah, one of his friends, and Phicol, the chief captain of his army. And Isaac said unto them, wherefore come ye to me, seeing ye hate me, and have sent me away from you? And they said, we saw certainly that the Lord was with thee. And we said, let there be now an oath betwixt us, even betwixt us and thee, and let us make a covenant with thee, that thou wilt do us no harm, as we have not touched thee, and as we have done unto thee nothing but good, and have sent thee away in peace, and thou art now the blessed of the Lord. And he made them a feast, and they did eat and drink. And they rose up betimes in the morning, and sware one to another. And Isaac sent them away, and they departed from him in peace. And it came to pass the same day that Isaac's servants came and told him concerning the well which they had digged, and said unto him, we have found water. And he called it Sheba. Therefore the name of the city is Beersheba unto this day. And Esau was 40 years old when he took to wife Judith, the daughter of Beri the Hittite, and Bashemath, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, which were a grief of mine unto Isaac and to Rebekah. All right. So we've got all of them moving around. Now I've got an updated map, and I'm not sure how much you can see it. It was what I would consider to be probably the best map. So I'm going to read you some of it. And I'm going to show you. All right. So you can kind of see this. But let me see. I'm probably going to have to zoom in a little bit to show you exactly some of these places. All right. So let's see if I zoom in. If I can zoom in a little bit more. I got to zoom in quite a bit. All right. So moving this map around, we do need to crop this over a little bit. Sorry. Definitely got to crop this over. All right. So Isaac moves to Gerar. We can see this right at the top. Isaac moves to Gerar because of the famine and lies to King Abimelech that Rebekah is his sister. All right. So we've got that part right there. And actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm not going to crop this. I'll just cover me up. All right. Because we're going to go down here a little bit. All right. So we're going to go down here first of all. So Isaac is living at Beer Lahai Roi before Rebekah comes to be his wife. And that's way down here, Beer Lahai Roi. Okay. After some time, Isaac resettles in Beer Lahai Roi with Rebekah. Jacob and Esau may have been born here. This is where we believe they were. But then after they were born, all right, we do know that Isaac moves to the Negev, and then Rebekah comes from Padam Aram to be his wife. So he's living here, Beer Lahai Roi. Then he moves back up to the Negev, which is a region, not a specific place. when Rebecca comes in. All right. So we can see that right there. It's moving up to the Negeg. Okay. Negev. And then back down to Beer Laharoi with Rebecca, Jacob, and Esau, where they may have been born there. So then we come up here. We do know that he goes up to Gerar. Isaac moves to Gerar because of a famine and lies to King Abimelech that Rebecca is his sister. All right, so that's where we're at the moment. We're going to start with that. And let's get to this camera right here. So at the very beginning, here we are in Genesis 26, and we are in verse 1. And it says that verses 1 through 6, basically. Verses 1 through 6, Isaac moves to Gerar rather than Egypt because God told him to go back to his ancestral lands, basically. All right, to go back to his ancestral lands. And so Isaac does. He goes back to Gerar. All right, and he's dwelt in Gerar. So if we look at our map again, here we are. Isaac moves to Gerar because of famine, and he lies to King Abimelech that Rebecca is his sister. All right, well, yeah, this seems to be a problem with Abraham and Isaac. They seem to do this sort of thing. So, verse 7, and the men of the place asked him of his wife, and he said, she is my sister, for he feared to say, she is my wife, lest, said he, the men of the place should kill me for Rebekah. So, once again, I don't know what's up with this family, huh? Once again, like his father, and his father did the same thing to Abimelech. It was Abimelech that he did this to. Like his father, he lies and says Rebecca is his sister, not his wife. Now, when Abraham did this, it was half true because Sarah was his half sister. But Isaac and Rebecca are not that closely related. They're like second cousins. So they're not even like just first cousins. They are either what you would count as first cousins once removed or second cousins. Most people would count that as what's called a second cousin. So at least with Abraham, it was a half lie, shall we say, because she was a half sister, not a full sister. But Isaac, he's like, oh yeah, I heard about dad doing that. That sounds like a good plan. I don't know why Isaac would think this is a good plan. It was not the right thing for Abraham to do. And Abraham, if he told him about him doing it, he certainly should not have told him about it in a positive light because God kind of condemned him for him. And God kind of said, no, don't do that. All right. So he told him his sister, not his wife, in verse 7 and verse 7. And then verse 8, Abimelech catches them, shall we say, messing around. It says sporting with each other. Now, that does not mean that they were having sex out in the open. That's not what that means. But he was behaving it means he was probably grabbing her, kissing her affectionately. I mean, they were in basically their yard, apparently, because he looks out at a window and saw, and behold, Isaac was sporting. Let's look up what this word sporting specifically means here. So if we go to 6711 in the back by our notes, 6711 in our lexicon, won't take us long to get there. We're already at the 6,000s. 67, one page back. 6711, 6711. It's to laugh outright in merriment or in sport, to laugh, mock, play, make sport. That's all that word means. However, whatever they were playing at was clearly husband and wife playing at. So it probably means Isaac was teasing her. Maybe he was tickling her. Maybe he was tickling her and grabbing her and playing with her. Maybe he groped her. Like, I don't know about you, other women out there, but sometimes my husband will grope me when we're in our backyard and it's in the privacy of our backyard, and he'll reach over and we're messing around and he'll just grab my butt or something. He'll be like, hey, that's kind of the things that husbands do sometimes. It's okay. Or he'll just reach over and he'll give me a hug, or he'll wrap his arms around me and give me an affectionate kiss, a passionate kiss. That's only obviously whatever Isaac was doing that they were playing around and messing around with, it made it clear. And Abimelech goes, hold on a second. That ain't your sister. That's not how you mess around with your sister. That's your wife. That's clearly your wife. Nobody but your wife would you act that way towards. And Isaac fesses up, right? And he goes, yeah. He goes, verses 8 and 9 here. We've got Abimelech catches them messing around, and Isaac fesses up. And then in verse 10, I started to just write Abimelech. Verse 10, Abimelech rebukes him. He's like, what would have happened? What if one of my men, what is it that you've done to us? One of my people might have lightly lain with thy wife, and thou shouldst have brought guiltiness upon us. And Abimelech charged all his people, saying, he that touches his man or his wife shall surely be put to death. Abimelech rebukes Isaac for lying. And orders his people not to touch them. Okay, at penalty of death, he says, don't touch them. All right? So at penalty of death. Then Isaac sowed in that land and received in the same year 100-fold, and the Lord blessed him. So now verse 10, we've got Abimelech, verse 10 and 11 rather, Abimelech doing that. Verse 12 through, and we'll put some more verses here. Isaac prospers a lot, and I'm putting this in big capital letters. And the man waxed great, went forward, grew until he became very great. He had possession of flocks, and they got all jealous of him. And so this is all through 12 through 15. And then we get back to Abimelech again, verse 16. Abimelech sends him away. Now, remember, we don't know whether this Abimelech is the same Abimelech that encountered Abraham, because it has been a long time, but it could have been. It could be, because Abraham was quite old when he encountered Abimelech. He's like in his 80s, 90s and stuff like that when he first encountered Abimelech. And, Isaac's now only in his 60s, but let's say Abimelech's around for 200 years. But let's say he was like in his 20s or 30s when he first encountered Abraham. Well, he's maybe an older man now, but he's still very much the king. And the reason is because later on, we even see that it is the same name for his captain. All right. So Abimelech's like, you know what? You need to go, because you're way mightier than we are. Like, you got to go. Like, this is scary. Like, how much God is with you it's a scary level of God here. So Abimelech sends him away out of fear, really. That's what our notes need to say here is he sends him away out of fear. He's like, I don't know about this mightiness. So out of fear, because he doesn't want to take any chances. All right. Then we have this little aside section here where we're talking about the wells. Okay. So verses 17, and Isaac departed thence and pitched his tent in the valley of Gerar. Okay. So let's take a look at our map again. Let's share the map one more time. So now you see Isaac moves into the valley of Gerar. Okay. Because the Philistines in Gerar itself say that he's too powerful. So he digs a well, but the Philistines claim it for themselves. So Isaac calls it Esek. Okay. And that word is 6230. So let's look up in our notes here 6230 and find out what that actually means. So I'm actually going to put this in because we might be going to others there. All right, 37, 62, 6230. All right, so let's take this map off for a second. And we are in 6230. Essek means it means strife. So we're going to say digging and arguing over wells. So the word Essek, okay, that word right there, Essek means strife. All right. Means, look, they're striving over this. They're causing problems over that. Essek means strife. All right. And what is the other one he says here? And they digged another well and strove for that also. And he called the name of it Sitnah. So 7856. Let's go to 7856 in our Bibles. Seventy-eight. Nope, sorry, 77. 7856 would be right here. And that means it's the name. It does not tell us what wait, here we go. Sitnah. It's the same as 7853. Attack. Wait, 53 or 55? Hold on a second. 55. It means accusation. So Sitnah means accusation. So let's look at that. Let's reread that now. And they digged another well and strove for it, that also. And he called the name, and they strove for that also. And he called the name of it Sitnah. He's like, look, this means you're accusing me of taking your well, and that's not true. We digged this well ourselves. First one, strife. You're causing a lot of strife over this first well. Now you're accusing us. And he's like, fine. He goes on from there, and he goes, Rehoboth. So they dig a third well. And this one is called Rehoboth, 7344. So let's look at that. 73. We're all in that same area of the lexicon, so it makes it really easy. 73. And now you know this is actually my Bible study because I'm not looking these up ahead of time. I do very little prep work for this. As far as I just pull the passages. I don't even reread. I don't even pre-read them usually. All right, 70. What is Rehoboth? 7344. So 7334, 7344. Rehoboth let's see here. 70, it says it's a plural of 7839, which is it means a broad place, or it means broad places, basically. Okay, so it's the plural version of 7339, it says, which is a width, an avenue or area, a broad place, a street, but it's multiples. It's the plural version of that. Rehoboth is the plural. So Rehoboth means basically a broad, or not a broad, means broad places or large places. Means, see here. Broad means broad places. And sometimes we have the word, when we think the idea of broad places, it means like it's very wide, it's very awesome. And generally, this usually means in the minds of the ancients, it meant this is a generous place. When we say it's a broad place, we mean it's a generous place where we're able to kind of be in peace. So it's a broad places is what that means. All right. So verses 17 through, and he said, he says, for now the Lord hath made room for us, and we shall be fruitful in the land. So it means broad places because God made room for them. That makes sense. Okay. So that's verse 22, 17 through 22. And now we're on to verse 23. And then he went up from thence to Beersheba, and the Lord appeared unto him that same night and said, I am the God of Abraham thy father. Fear not. And he builds an altar there in Beersheba. So that's 23 through 25. Isaac builds an altar in Beersheba. Okay? So Isaac builds an altar in Beersheba. All right. An altar in Beersheba. All right. Great. And then in verse 26, we see Abimelech comes back. Abimelech comes to him. And Isaac said, why have you come to me? Why are you here? Why are you here with me? Why are you here with me? This makes zero sense. Like, what are you doing here? He goes, you don't like me. You sent me away. And he goes, you know what? We saw that God was with you. Abimelech comes to him to make a direct treaty. He said, we saw God was with you. And he said, okay, I get it. You see that God is with me. And he made them a feast, and they did eat and drink. And they rose up betimes in the morning and sware to one another. And Isaac sent them away, and they departed from him at peace. All right. And so that's through verse 31. And then verse 32. So verses 32. And it came to pass the same day that Isaac's servants came and told him concerning the well which they had digged, and said unto him, we have found water. And he called it Sheba. So that's 7656. Because this is why it's called Beersheba nowadays. 7656. So 7656. Let's look at that name. Go into the dictionary. 7656. $77, 7656. 53, 54, 55, 56. All right. It means Sheba means 7620. So let's to go back to that one. So I got to go back a page, 7620. It's related to that word. I love how it's going back and forth all the time. All right. It means, oh, thank goodness. It's a denomination, literally sevened or a week. So Sheba means that is, so it's basically the place of sevens. That actually means kind of completion, actually. So if we look at our map, let's put our map up. And Beersheba, Isaac moves to Beersheba and builds an altar and a well, and King Abimelech of the Philistines comes and exchanges oaths of peace with him. And then Isaac leaves the valley, digs another well. They call it Sitnah, moves from Sitnah, digs another well, perhaps nearby. The Philistines do not claim it, but then he goes up to Beersheba. He moves to Beersheba and builds an altar there. And I feel like there was one last, where it was 9. There we go. All right. And all right. Not yet, though. So right now we've left Isaac in Beersheba. So he comes and makes that and names the final well completion. Like, that's complete. We've now completed, based on the idea of completion, or 7 being that complete number. All right. And that's verses 32 through 33. Through 33. And then we have this really small addendum here, verses 34 to 35. Esau marries ungodly women. They were of the Hittites. And they are trouble for Isaac and Rebekah. We don't know exactly why, but we just know that they are. We just know that Isaac and Rebekah doesn't work. Not happening. So anyway, so that's where we are today. Oh, I forgot to take the map off. I apologize. So that's where we are at the end of today. And we will pick up here Thursday in Genesis chapter 27. So this is kind of where we end. It's a little bit of a weird ending, but it's just like a bit of history of the travels of Isaac, Rebekah, what's happening. Esau is now married. Remember, Jacob's not married yet. So we now have one son married, and we've got some really big things happening in Genesis 27. So we'll pick up there Thursday. Join me tomorrow, however, for a Wisdom and Worship Wednesday, when we're going to talk about the languages of the Bible. It's a really important video. So hopefully you can tune in then. And if you did find any value in this content today, well, then just do me a favor. Click like, subscribe, turn on that notification bell so you do not miss any of my content. But otherwise, I will see you tomorrow on the Bible, the languages of the Bible.
You can have all this world. Give me Jesus. When I am alone, oh, when I am alone, when I am alone, give me Jesus, give me Jesus.